express some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
ACR Solar and Home Improvements has been so great to me and my family. Jason Ross here to encourage you to go to acrsolar.com and to see what they can do for you. Now, we are so comfortable and especially dry during this Sacramento rainy season, knowing our home is protected thanks to our brand new roof from ACR Solar. Our value of our home has increased. The home itself is looking and functioning at its best. And again, the proof is the roof. You can get the same quality experience with ACR Solar and Home Improvements. Just go to acrsolar.com now to sign up for a free estimate and see all that they have to offer. Not only to protect your home and your family during the cold and wet Sacramento weather, but also including premium made in the USA solar electric systems. ACR Solar and Home Improvements, they've been bringing us all the highest quality, value, and integrity since 1979. So go to acrsolar.com. Once again, that's acrsolar.com.
It's time for game night, getting you ready for Sacramento Kings basketball.
He's got the bucket!
Game night is presented by Power Business Technology, your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good afternoon. Welcome into game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. We'll take you until 4:30 today. Get you ready for Kings Live pregame. Tip tonight, Kings and Rockets, 5 o'clock, as the Kings continue the Texas two-step. First step was pretty good for the Kings, 140 points on the board. It helped that Houston native De'Aaron Fox was back for the Kings. It felt like all was right in the world again as the Kings put 140 on the board, beating the Rockets 140-120. We know the Rockets obviously are struggling, but Henry, it was a great win for them. We're going to break that down. We're going to get into the league stuff as well. Of course, LeBron, we've got to talk about last night. We got to talk about the Lakers. They're in the news, perhaps a big time three-way trade going down involving the Lakers. We'll get into that as well. What a week it is. Trade deadline. There's so much stuff going on in the NBA right now, my friend.
You know, this the interesting time, of the NBA. Like you said, you got so many things going on. You got trade deadlines. You got teams trying to make moves. You got the All-Star game coming up. Yeah. You got teams trying to prep for the long haul. So, it's going to be a lot of interesting moves, man. A lot of things done within the next couple of days.
It's getting real here in the next 24 hours, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt.
No doubt about it. And the rumor with the Lakers could be the first of many. Let's focus in on the Kings first, because obviously much needed win for them on Monday night. And it's not like De'Aaron had a huge game. He only had 16 points. He only played 29 minutes, but just the fact he was back made a huge difference, obviously.
What I saw, Scott, is I saw a bunch of guys that had a chance to exhale, say, whew, because De'Aaron was back on the floor. And I'm with you. It seemed like everything was right again in Sacramento land. I mean, Kevin Huerter knocks down shots and, Malik Monk gets it going once again. And then the rookie has a big night. So, we always talk about when the Kings shoot the ball well, the sky's the limit for this basketball team. But I thought it was more so of having De'Aaron back and the sky is the limit for this team.
Yeah, no question. We saw the night and day difference with the offense. The team that, again, is leading the league in scoring points per game. They were back in full effect. And you mentioned the Rook. It was interesting because we had the conversation on Monday, especially in the YouTube chat room during the breaks, like who needs to have the biggest game to get it back.
I don't want to, break my arm patting myself on the back, but I was adamant about who?
You're adamant about the Rook.
Exactly.
And he showed up, as you mentioned, 30 points, a career high for him, 8 3-pointers, a career high as well. He was awesome. It was fun to watch.
Scooter, not just having a career high, but seeing how well he shot the ball from three. we're not going to ever, and I just gave up already. We're not going to ever see any emotion out of Keegan about, was he happy? Was he down? What's going on? But I know deep down, the rookie had to get some type of solace out of seeing the ball go through the basket.
Yeah, no, it had to feel good because in the prior 3 games, he was 1 of 16.
Oh, yeah.
From distance.
Scooter, he just came off a game to where he had 3, and then the game before that, he had an offer. That was the first in his NBA career. So, to see the ball go through at the rate that it did, I'm pretty sure that lifted some weight off the young fella's back.
Yeah, no question. It was a big sigh of relief for him. And obviously for Sacramento, it evens out the road trip at 3-3. So this becomes kind of the rubber match of the 7-game road trip for the Kings. If they win today, they can go and get a winning road trip 4-3 before coming back home. I think that would mean a lot for the Kings.
It would definitely mean a lot, Scott. For this team to come out of this thing 4-3, another winning record on the road trip. And then, I honestly think that will give the Kings time to refocus on the task at hand, what needs to be done up until All-Star break. You have Dallas coming in and another 2-step, as you called it, the 4-step.
Yes.
Because you go through Houston, then you got to swing through Dallas.
2
so that's
plus 2 equals 4. Yep.
That's the double duty coming out of Texas. But I think it gives them a time to regroup and say, okay, that road trip is over. So now we got to deal with the gruesome twosome, these 2 in Dallas. And, the focus is get out of there with just 1. The Kings don't have to play, just lights out basketball. If they just go 500, Scott, I've been harping on this 500 to the All-Star break. If they can do that, they don't have to play extraordinary basketball.
No.
But if they can just play good basketball until the All-Star break, they will be in a good position coming out of All-Star.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And the fact that you're playing the Rockets, this is a team you certainly want to beat. They are struggling big time. They are playing 0 defense. They're 13-41 right now.
Man, another team that's struggling, but another team that's scary, Scott, because they have nothing to lose. And whenever you play a team that has nothing to lose, anything can happen. They can get hot. They can get warm. They can start knocking down shots. But then again, on the contrary, if you go out, you take care of business, you get them down early, it's another team that will be willing to fold early on.
Yep, that is for sure. If you want to join the program, we'd love to hear from you this afternoon. 1-800-920-1140. 916-339-1140 as well. During the breaks, we're going to be chatting it up in the YouTube chat room as well. So you can log on there, YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140. We'd love to have you join there as well. Give us a like, get that going with the conversation. Also, for the Rockets, and you have to feel for Steven Silas. It's been a tough year for him, obviously on and off the floor for him. His father, Paul, passed away.
Sure.
The Rockets aren't playing well. He's one of the good guys in the league. You root for him, but obviously it's tough sledding right now.
Scott, I will give him that, far as Pops, passing away, rest in peace, Mr. Silas. But at the end of the day, you never know what's going on with him in the front office. If Houston Rockets are an organization like we think they are, they have definitely called him in and said, okay, here's where we are. We are rebuilding. Don't worry about winning. Cultivate talent. Get these guys ready, let these guys play, show them how to play, and then we're going to pick and choose from what you have and start bringing you in some talent. I don't think that they're going to take, this type of situation and look at him and judge him as a coach off of this current roster.
Yeah, I don't think they will either, but you never know, right?
That's tough, Scott, to bring him in his first year.
I'm with you.
And then to judge him off of this roster.
It'd be unfair.
It will be unfair. It will be more so, why don't you judge the GM on this roster instead of the coach?
I agree with you, but let us not forget what's happened here in Sacramento over the last 16 years. How many coaches we've seen who have been, you could argue a quick trigger over those years in terms of number of coaches in Sacramento.
Yeah, but as we've seen too, is like, sometimes it isn't the coaches. It's not the coaches.
Agreed.
Because we let Mike Malone go way fast, and Mike Malone went to Denver and created something special. Okay, so, you're going to always be able to look back at one, but at the end of the day, it's all about the roster that you have.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, if you go back past Adelman, Eric Musselman was here 1 year. Reggie Theus, 1+ years.
Right.
There's been a lot of examples of coaches who got pulled, and whether fairly or unfairly. Now, to the point with the Rockets, this is a complete rebuild. This is a young team that really doesn't have the ability to win in a big time way right now.
It's going to be tough for them. But all teams go through it, though, Scott. I mean,
Sure.
it isn't like, the Houston Rockets are going through something that no other team have. Think about it. We just started winning games, Scott, and we've been on the down for a long time.
Yes,
Okay, so we understand that, all teams go through this lull of trying to find talent, cultivate talent, try to draft well.
Sure.
And now you can go out and get a good couple of free agents to where you can be competitive once again. It's all a part of the process.
Agreed. So Silas, after the game, his quote was, "It's youth. Are we going to go out there and do everything we can possibly to win the game, or are we just going to go out there and play the game?" That's what it is. It's disappointing. These are the lessons we have to learn and all that stuff, but it is not right. What we did tonight on that floor was not right. And of course, the Rockets were coming up off of giving up 153 against OKC, 140 on Monday night against Sacramento.
And it's all about how he looking at things. Okay, I can understand you say it's not right. It might not be right for him, not to lose a basketball game,
Sure.
Scott, but it might not be right for his team to give up that amount of points. Giving up, that amount of points might be a situation where he's like, okay, fellas, we understand we're not going to win big time basketball games. We're not going to win a lot, but we can be competitive on the defensive end to where we don't let teams just run us out the gym.
Absolutely. And to that point, for example, Luke Walton, there were a couple of just terrible losses along the way before he was let go too, and Alvin Gentry took over.
True. I mean, things like that happen,
They
man.
happen.
I mean, it's things like that happen, and like you said, we can go all the way back to Adelman,
Sure.
and Adelman had hell of a rosters. Okay, he had
Yes, he did.
players on his roster,
course.
so yeah, he was able to have success. Up until now, we have always said that Sacramento Kings basketball, the good era, started and ended with Chris Webber. Well, after Webber left, Adelman wasn't too far from behind.
No, because it was, again, Adelman 8 straight playoff wins and then 16 consecutive non-playoff appearances for the Kings afterwards. So we know all about that, but right now the Kings are trending for the playoffs. Their 30th win of the year.
Nice.
And again, it took 82 games last year to
Mhm.
get 30 wins. It's taken 53 games this year to do it.
Man, huge step in the right direction. Huge step. Shout out to Mike, all of his coaches, the staff, the GM, Monty McNair. You know what? I salute you, my brother, because you just did a hell of a job of recreating this roster. And this basketball team is definitely looking better. I'm not going to say what's going to happen at the end. Basketball is basketball. We know one thing to be true. Your health can dictate how this team goes. But as of right now, for what he's done and what this team is doing, I salute him.
No doubt. Their 14th road win of the year as well, 14-12 on the road, a chance to get their 15th road win here today. All right, we've set the scene. When we come back, we're going to start delving in a little bit more. Obviously, the trade deadline is the overriding theme throughout the league. We'll get into what the potential 3-team trade is with the Lakers. Of course, we've got to talk LeBron, and we'll get into all of that as well. A new addition to the Kings, Kessler Edwards. We'll talk about that. And Harrison Barnes talking to the Sacramento Bee about trade deadline and future and all of that stuff too. So we'll delve into that as well. Lots to get into. If you want to join us, 1-800-920-1140. And we're going to turn it over to the YouTube chat room on Sactown Sports 1140 as well during the break. This is Game Night right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sactown Sports.
Henry, can you hear me? Yep. Okay. All right. We got to. That was over the. Whoops. Take that out of program. Okay. We got our poll up right now. It's kind of personal to me too. So the poll is: how many games will the Kings win before All-Star break? We got 4 games left. We got tonight, Houston, back-to-back Dallas at home, and Phoenix on the road on the 14th. So for me, it's important. I may or may not have an open bet right now for the over/under wins for the season. And if they win 3 out of these 4, I get to collect. So I think they can win 3 of these 4 before the break, but I'm curious what you guys think.
Flower, you want to give that a shake? I don't think you can hear you, Nate.
Oh, he said
I
yeah.
don't think he can
I
hear you.
saw
I
him
think
say
he faked
yes.
you out.
All right, Scott, what do you
All right,
think?
we'll
Let
go
me
through
bring him
this.
in.
All right. Well, we're gonna win. Yeah, I'll go as you get Henry set up here. Kings are gonna win tonight. There's no doubt in my mind they're gonna get the victory. It'll be interesting to see whether Luka plays because tonight Luka is not going against the Clippers. So it'll be Kyrie without Luka. Will Luka be here on Friday and Saturday? That'll be a big piece of whether the Kings can sweep there. So we'll see on that, but I like their chances of getting 3 of the next 4. I really do, Henry. So the poll question is, out of the next 4 games with Houston tonight, got Dallas twice. Final game there before the break, Nate, again?
Phoenix on the 14th.
Phoenix on the 14th. Thank you, on the road. What are the Kings' chances of getting 3 of the next 4?
Decent.
How many wins do you think they'll get? The poll right now 1, 2, 3, 4. So what are you thinking?
Well,
tonight's a win.
Okay, I'll ride with that. Tonight's a win, and I'm still on the 50-50 train. You know, if the Kings can just split with Dallas, I'm fine with that. All right, now whatever happens with Phoenix happens. If they can get it, great. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. But they at least have to go 500 with Dallas these 2 games.
And again, whether Luka plays or not will be a big factor as to what's going on.
Oh, huge factor.
He's not playing tonight, still out with the heel against the Clips. So.
Right. So, and I think it's a good thing that you're going to catch them early on with, okay, if Luka and Kyrie are both there, you're still catching them with 2 games early on with those guys just now stepping on the floor of one another.
Yeah. All right, we're coming back here, guys.
Welcome back in to Game Night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Glad to have you on board. Hopefully you're enjoying your Wednesday afternoon. Your commute is good if you're in your car tuning in, or if you're watching us on the YouTube. Hopefully you're getting into the chat. The poll question, how many of the next 4 before the All-Star break are the Kings going to get? Got tonight, got 2 against Dallas, and then, of course, finishing up against Phoenix. So you can vote on that as well. Game Night is always brought to you by our good friends at Power Business Technology. Experience for yourself how the Power of Family can help you with all your business copying needs. Give them a call today, 844-POWER-BZ, or go to powercopiers.com. As we told you before the break, the Kings have completed a trade with the Brooklyn Nets. So there has been a move already. Kings acquiring Kessler Edwards and cash considerations in exchange for the draft rights to David Michino. In a related move, the Kings have waived Deonte Burton. Edwards selected by the Nets, the 44th pick in the 2021 NBA draft. He was out of Pepperdine. He appeared in 14 games this season for the Nets. What do you make of this?
Don't really know. I will have a better idea of what's going on.
Is it a move to make a move?
Yes, I believe so. I believe it's a move to make a move, but want to see what happens tonight, how guys are going to be played, because Kessler is 6'7", 200, long wingspan, known as a defensive player, but he's a 3. He's a true 3. Can he stretch the floor? Don't know too much about the young man. Don't know how well he can shoot the ball. But we do know that he's defensive minded and he is a true 3. He isn't a guy that can swing up to the 2 position, and he isn't a guy that's big enough to where you can put him at the 4. So we're seeing that the Kings are kind of heavy at that spot. Is he still going to be here? Is he going to be a piece that's going to be moved? Yet to be seen.
Yeah, we'll see. But obviously it's a smaller piece of the equation. And we'll see if he actually sticks on the roster and how and if he gets used, if he's moved down to the G League for some important point in time.
At the end of the day, Scott, he is another defensive-minded player that the Kings can have at their disposal.
Yep. And, there's been talk about Matisse Thybulle. It's not fair to compare him in that category, but it might be, you could look at him in that vein of type of player if the Kings were looking to.
Well, I don't know if he's a Thybulle.
No, that's not fair. No.
I think Thybulle's a hell of a player.
But we're just saying a larger defensive type guard.
Now, like I said, that's yet to be seen, but
Sure.
I think Thibault is a hell of a player. I
He
think
is.
Thibault is known as a defensive stopper,
Oh, yeah.
but every time I watch that kid play, he scores the basketball. He can shoot it. He can get to the basket,
Yeah.
score above the rim. I look at him as a two-way player, big time. But I don't know Kessler. Haven't seen him play that much. So, you still have to have a chance to watch this guy and see what type of talent that he has.
Yep. Obviously, another name that's been mentioned in trade rumors, for the past couple of years. And again, with the deadline tomorrow, Harrison Barnes, he spoke with Jason Anderson, our good friend over at the Sacramento Bee, made some comments, him and his agent. His quote was, "At this point, I'll probably be in trade deadline rumors until I retire. So it's one of those things. It's just part of your life. You don't really pay too much attention to it. At the end of the day, I'm happy with what we've done this season. I just want to continue to build on that." In terms of the agent's comments on that, his agent, Jason Schwartz, saying, "Nothing to report on my side other than Harrison enjoys playing for Sac." So
all the right words being said. Harrison Barnes, true veteran, and I believe in what he says. He takes it as a part of the game. He's been around long enough to know and understand that when you get older in your career and your contract is up, it's an expiring contract. I don't care who you are. You're always going to be on the chopping blocks or in trade rumors about how you're going to be able to move or make the team better.
no doubt. And again, we'll see, because the Kings, it's under 24 hours now until the trade deadline, if they've got a bigger move in them or not. But I think the thing that's apparent, Harrison Barnes has become and has been an integral part of this team. I mean,
Right.
Sure, we've talked about recently where he's had 3 shots in a game, and that's disappointing to us. But the overall body of work this year has been a major reason why they've got 30 wins.
Played very well. But then again, Scott, don't matter. It doesn't make a difference of how well you played when, especially, you see that they go out and they make a trade for a guy that plays your position.
Mm-hmm.
Younger, all right, maybe a little more athletic, and maybe a little bit more defensive minded. So I'm pretty sure in the back of Harrison Barnes' mind, he's looking at, okay, I might be on the way out.
Yep. Well, we will continue to track that. And of course, if we get any breaking information, we will bring it to you right here first on Sactown Sports 1140. Let's go around the league. There is a 3-way trade potentially brewing between the Lakers, Jazz, and Timberwolves. They're in discussion, a deal that would send D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers, Russell Westbrook, and draft compensation such as a first-round pick to Utah, and Mike Conley Jr. to Minnesota. This is all sources telling Sean Sharania, who does a great job covering the league. That broke a couple of hours ago. Obviously not a done deal by any means, but based on what you're hearing there, what do you think about it?
I was about to say, who do you think gets the better deal out of that? Who's going to come up and which team is going to be better?
Well, D'Angelo Russell, of course, was a Laker to start his career, right?
True. And then, he made Kobe mad, so he had to go.
He was a number 3 pick at the time. So you get him back, you move Westbrook, and Mike Conley goes to Minnesota. Boy, of the 3 teams, you might argue that Minnesota gets the best of that deal based on what Mike Conley with experience can bring that club. Obviously, Conley's, in the home stretch of his career can still play.
You know what? You might want to throw me out the window for this, but I think Utah gets the best of the deal.
Okay.
Because now you get a Russell Westbrook
Yep.
that can keep the ball in his hands. He can be a volume guy.
Yeah.
You got shooters around him, and you got guys who can score around him. I think you get the best of Russell Westbrook. He don't need to score. All he needs to do is facilitate.
And you get a first-round pick.
I will add real quick. I've heard the rumor is that they're going to buy out Westbrook.
Okay.
So
thank you for adding that.
Yeah, that's on the table as well.
Okay.
Wow.
Appreciate that.
Could be a king.
Hold on. Who could be a king?
Turn your mic off right now.
Man, who could be a king?
Yeah, no.
He ain't gonna come here and ruin what we got going.
He's not coming to Sacramento. All right. enough of that. What about D'Angelo to the Lakers? Is that the piece? I mean, obviously LeBron.
Anything going to the Lakers can help. When you talk about at the point guard position, facilitate and can knock down an outside shot. Anybody that they bring will help LA in that situation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because, again, we've got to get into this. LeBron, obviously one of the great nights in NBA history last night, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was so great to watch, and just a special, special night to witness what happened in the league last night.
Okay. With all that being said,
yeah,
the question still arrives.
Yeah.
Is he the greatest of all time? Is LeBron James is he the GOAT?
Well, we've had this conversation many times. I'm happy to have it again. In my mind, there's no doubt that he goes down as the greatest overall player of all time. There's just no, I mean, you look at the numbers, it's not arguable. He passed Magic Johnson. He's number 4 all time in assists. He's now number 1 in points. His 20-year career, his length of service, that's going to extend for at least 2 or 3 more years.
Right.
He's going to get over 40,000 points. By the time he's done, just by sheer volume, he has to be the best player of the game. If you want to make the argument best player in certain stretches, I understand the Jordan argument. I get that. But again, in terms of just sheer numbers, how could you argue against the man?
Well, I'm like this now. Before, I was live and die, MJ, Michael Jordan, the best that has ever done it. But, LeBron James comes along, and the things that he's done, how he's played in this league, and every accolade that he has gotten, he was in the conversation and right next to the best that has ever done it. But now he has done something that Michael wasn't able to do, Magic wasn't able to do, Kobe wasn't able to do, and that is to break that record.
Yes.
So now, in my eyes, I have to give it to him. He's the greatest that ever played the game. And, and I still will say he had 4 extra years over a lot of those people, except Kobe. But think about it. Even Kobe didn't have the numbers that LeBron James has accumulated, and they both came out of high school. So that just goes to show you how great that dude is.
Right. Kobe played 20 years.
Right.
Yep.
And came straight out of high school.
Right.
Same amount of time. I usually give, the other players, LeBron had a 2 or 3 year stretch on him. But even the great Kobe Bryant had the same amount of years as LeBron and didn't get the numbers that LeBron has.
No doubt. Did it make you think back to night number 1 in LeBron's career back here at Sacramento back in 2003? It did for me because, they showed the tribute video and it all starts with them hitting that baseline J at the old Arco Arena, getting the dunk past Doug Christie, all of that stuff. Of course, there was a commercial made. You were a part of it. You're still getting big time royalties from it, living off the, that commercial forever.
If you don't stop with the royalties, the first, and we ain't seen that commercial in probably 25 years. I got 1 check from that commercial. But yeah,
well, more than I got.
It's going to always be a part of LeBron's legacy, and it's always going to be part of Sacramento Kings history because,
it started here.
It started here. His first game was here. So when you think about LeBron James, it's going to always be, especially in Sacramento Kings fans, you know what? We got a chance to witness his first game ever.
We did. All right. We've got to go to the break. When we come back, we'll talk about LeBron. He had some post-game comments, and obviously it was focused on his family and everybody there with the unbelievable accomplishment, maybe the greatest in NBA history. But he did make comments about playing future years, and he did also throw out there he can win championships with any team. So getting back to this trade deadline thing, would D'Angelo Russell make LeBron happy? We'll talk about that. We'll go around the league as well. It's game night right here. Kings versus Rockets coming your way at 5 o'clock today on Sactown Sports 1140.
We've got a lot of good questions in the chat.
All right.
Chat's doing it for us right now. First, BV50 asks if there's a possibility that Malik Monk could earn some starting minutes at shooting guard.
If Kevin Huerter continues to struggle like this?
Yeah, assuming.
I don't think so. And the reason I say that, Malik's doing so great off the bench.
Yeah, he's too important. He's an important
He's been great.
six man,
And yeah, I mean, they've talked about him being 6 man of the year. Mike Brown's already talked about that early in the year. Malik could be a starter. And maybe if Kevin doesn't get it together, maybe you shake that lineup up. But I don't see it. I think Malik, Henry, you tell me what you think, but I think he's more valuable coming off the bench right now.
I do too. And evidently Coach Brown does also, because we've seen games where Kevin Huerter has been out and Malik Monk didn't get the call. Terrence Davis did. And it's no knock on Malik, Scott. It's the thing that Malik Monk has something going on coming off the bench. You need some firepower coming off the bench, and Malik Monk has been that guy. He has been that guy to really get those guys coming off the bench and really, for Mike Brown, have some productivity off the bench. If you take Malik Monk out of coming off the bench and put him in the starting lineup, who's going to be the game changer? Who's going to be the tone setter for that group coming off the bench?
Agreed, because we've seen the bench, I guess you could say it's somewhat inconsistent. We've seen some great bench nights. We've seen some not so great bench nights.
But when you look at the bench, Scott, and you look at when Mike have those guys out there on the floor, who is the leader of the bench? Because
it's Malik Monk.
Exactly. You have De'Aaron Fox in the starting five. Yep. That's the tone setter that gets that starting five going. And you need that exact same guy when you start bringing in your bench players, and Malik Monk is that guy.
I agree.
All right, next one here. We got a bunch of good ones. So
okay.
I want to ask you, what do you guys think about trying to get Jay Crowder? That comes from Patrick in the chat.
I love Jay Crowder, and I know a lot of teams want Jay Crowder.
Is that not a minutes thing, though? I think we were talking about this last game with Henry. It's where does he get in?
You find time for a Jay Crowder.
Well, here's the deal. If you get a Jay Crowder, there is no Harrison Barnes. Let's just call it what it is.
Okay.
If you get Jay Crowder, there's no room for Harrison Barnes, so he would take up those minutes.
If it came down, let's just say it's just that simple, Crowder and Barnes is out, who would you rather have?
I'm thinking here now.
I like HB with this team. He's got the chemistry with the team.
He does. Yeah. He has the chemistry with the team.
Crowder is a big-time rebounder, though.
Even though I think Crowder could bring some positive things to the team, too, because, I think right now the upper echelons in this organization is working on Mike Brown's insecurities about some of these guys don't play defense. And when you bring a Jay Crowder to this team, he's a defensive-minded player. You bring a Kelser to this team, he's a defensive-minded player. If you bring a Plumlee to this team, another defensive-minded player. So I think they're trying to work on the defensive side for Coach Brown.
Okay, I'm going to add to that. There's one more good one I'll ask you guys in the next break. But adding on to that, this comes from Chris in the chat. Do you think Harrison Barnes will make it through the offseason? He has a player option, I believe, for $40 million, so it's hard to see him not take that.
Yeah, that's the other point, is that, the Kings could be without him at the end of the year. To your point, I do agree that he would sign on that. I don't know if he would get a much better offer than that, Henry.
Nobody. I mean, we were shocked when he got that deal. Nobody is going to go and opt out of a $40 million deal. The only way you opt out of a $40 million deal is that you got a $100 million deal coming down the pipe somewhere.
A $41 million deal.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll get one more in the next break. We're coming back here in a second. And Scott, we are out at 24:30.
Welcome back in the game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140. Scott Marsh along with the High Flyer Henry Turner. We love the chat going on our YouTube page.
It's getting better and
it
better,
is.
Scott.
Some good questions.
You're getting people to chime in. Guys are listening. They're watching. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's been fun. We're enjoying it.
What up, YouTube? Even though I know we're not on right now.
I hear you. But you can subscribe to that page. Give us a like there. Of course, we appreciate you listening right here on Sactown Sports 1140 as well. And you can call us at 1-800-920 11:40. We'll break down Kings and Rockets in the next segment, get you to the who's on the floor report as well. But let's follow up with LeBron and the amazing accomplishment. He did say last night that, he's going to play multiple years and that he wants to win multiple more championships. And he also said that he's capable of doing that anywhere in the league. So that was the point we were talking about last time about LeBron. Is he committed to staying a Laker or not big term, and what the Lakers need to do? Obviously, they came up with the big goose egg on the Kyrie Irving front, and that certainly did not make LeBron happy. The trade that potentially is out there now would bring D'Angelo Russell back. Is that enough to make the Lakers competitive? Because to the point last night, LeBron breaks the record and they lose to OKC.
Ooh, that was the only downfall. Great night, great performance, everything that went down with the game except the W.
Yes.
You don't win the basketball game. But, when you talk about LeBron James and his future, okay, I don't see LeBron leaving LA no time soon. Because if he leaves LA, he's going to go to a team that is still going to rebuild. All right, because it's going to have to be LeBron's team, right?
Yep.
So where else are you going to go to rebuild? And you can rebuild right there in LA where you got everything going for you. Your family is set. You're in the music industry. You're in the Hollywood industry. You're making movies. You're making commercials. You're doing all these other things in your career, understanding that your career is going to change in a couple of years. But if you're right there in LA, that's the best place to transition.
No question. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that LeBron wants to finish his career there, but he also doesn't want to finish on teams that are going to win 25 and 30 games every year either.
So is LeBron going to go join the Celtics? Is LeBron going to go join Golden State?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be second fiddle to anybody like Ja in Memphis or to Luka in Dallas? No. He's LeBron James. He's going to go out being the alpha, just like Kobe Bryant. So I honestly believe LeBron James will go out as a LA Laker. There's no other place for him to go.
I would agree with that. I think that happens too. And I think he gets well over 40,000 points by the time it's all said and done.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think he gets a fifth championship.
Now, that's going to be hard. But hold on. I'm not going to say that, Scott. I'm not going to say that because we all know the Lakers, for some reason.
Sure.
AD is still there. All right. AD is still there. So they are one of the big three away from being able to have a championship. I honestly thought if they got Kyrie Irving, they were back in the mix.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Kyrie definitely put them back in the mix with that big three. I don't know if D'Angelo Russell has the same firepower.
The same I don't know, but the big thing about it is that we've seen the movie of Kyrie Irving and LeBron James.
Yes, it works. Right.
We've seen that movie. And that movie had Kevin Love as a supporting actor, and they were able to make it happen. So when you have Kyrie, LeBron, and an AD, well, you know what? You might win a Grammy with that movie.
No doubt. But Kyrie, as we know, is a Mav. He'll be here in Sacramento on Friday and Saturday night. We don't know if Luka will play on Friday or Saturday. It's the first appearance for Kyrie as they play the Clippers tonight. Luka is still out with that heel injury.
And can I say this?
Yes, you can.
We still have a question mark over our head if Kyrie is going to work out in Dallas.
Did you hear Mark Cuban's comments?
No.
He has called them the best backcourt in the league already.
Okay.
What do you think?
Hey.
Haven't seen them play once on the floor.
Talent-wise, just strictly talent-wise, You got it, Mark. You got it. Because nobody's touching Luka. Luka is killing the league. All right. And
offensively, it'd be hard to argue.
And I still think that Kyrie Irving is top 5 point guard in this league, talent-wise. So, yeah, Mark, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But can you get those two to be able to be the top duo in the league? Because that means they got to coincide together with one another.
That will be the question. And again, will they have enough inside after it's all said and done as well to make a run? So that is going to be interesting. Of course, also making news, the Phoenix Suns, who are starting to play a lot better. Devin Booker came back for the first time. DeAndre Ayton had his second consecutive 30-plus, 15-plus rebound game after never having one in his career. So that kid is playing well.
Scott, I tell you what, he is the missing piece to the Phoenix Suns being able to come out and make something special happen. You know, Chris Paul's still there.
Yep.
You know, you got the Cams. The Cams are still there. You got Bridges. Bridges is still there. And then you sprinkle in some
Where are you going?
the other guard you just talked about. You sprinkle in Book.
Sure.
You sprinkle in Book, and
Book's on top of that.
I'm just saying, you sprinkle. He just got back. You got to
Yeah.
sprinkle in some
All
Booker.
right, okay.
Now you got a championship team because the only thing that stopped you from going out winning was Giannis just torturing Aiden down low.
Yep.
Well, Aiden has another year, and he has a lot of confidence with him now. So if Aiden can, put up the type of numbers you need to put up, you right back in the mix.
Yeah, no doubt. And to that point, the Suns are fifth right now in the Western Conference, the 30-26. The Clippers are fourth at 31-26. Both teams have won 8 of 10. They're playing good basketball. They're right behind the Kings.
Scott, I've always said it, and I'm going to ride with this until I stop being around NBA basketball. Things change around All-Star break. Things change. The focus change. Everybody start getting in gear. Teams don't give up games. Things don't slide after All-Star break. So, yeah, it's going to be a different look in the league after All-Star break when these guys come back.
No doubt. Games tonight in the league. Pistons are in Cleveland. They'll take on the Cavs, Hornets, and Wizards. 76ers and Celtics. That's an interesting matchup right there with Embiid versus Tatum and Brown. Pacers and Heat, Spurs, Raptors, T-Wolves and Jazz, Mavs, Clips, Warriors, and Trailblazers. And, of course, the game we're going to focus in on when we come back, Kings and Rockets. We'll get your final thoughts about the trade deadline and what you think the Kings may or may not do, and just around the league as well. We'll get our Who's on the Flow report. Of course, Game Night brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. If you're looking to volunteer in our community, help out the children of Sacramento, give the Big Brothers and Big Sisters a call. A great way to do it. There are kids between the ages of 7 and 18 who need a mentor. Perhaps that is you. The phone number, 916-646-9300, or visit bbbs-sac.org to learn more. More of Game Night right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
Okay. So this one, another one from BV50. He says, some say the Kings need a veteran point guard. So that would mean most likely, I don't know what that means, but some say the Kings need a veteran point guard. How about pursuing Kyle Lowry? Because he's on the block.
Well, a lot of Toronto players are being mentioned, right? But that wouldn't be the one I want the most.
He's in Miami.
Oh, excuse me. You're right.
Yeah,
He is in
I
Miami.
know. It's easy to forget.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
Toronto because everybody's wondering what Toronto may or may not give up. I wouldn't go after Kyle Lowry just because I think he's too far down in his career. Could he be a veteran point guard to help out? He could, but I don't think that's the Kings' top 2-3 needs.
At all. And especially when you talk about a guy like a Kyle Lowry, because I don't think Kyle's in a situation to where he's ready to come off the bench yet. De'Aaron Fox is our point guard. He's our point guard of now and the future. He is the guy. Now, if you just want to put a point guard on the Sacramento Kings, I'll tell you who I would think would fit in very well.
Who's that?
I would go look at Rajon Rondo.
You keep mentioning Rondo. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a guy that can facilitate, man, that can make other people around him better. And Rajon is one of the best in the business when it comes to that. His basketball IQ is through the roof. Everywhere that young man has been, they have won. They have been successful. Even when he came here with the Sacramento Kings, they had a good year that year, and he made Willie Cauley-Stein almost look like an all-star.
What about Patrick Kilkenny in the chat? What about trying to get Seth Curry back on the team? Do you think he would fit in here anyway?
But see, here's the thing. You have to look at this. Seth Curry is starting in Brooklyn. You think he wants to come to Sacramento and come off the bench? I understand that, some guys really aren't ego-driven like that, but you have to look where Seth is coming from. Seth was already here. He moved on, he went on, and he made himself a good career. Now he's starting. He's playing good basketball. He's knocking down shots. He has his name. That kid is not going to want to say, okay, I'm going to leave Brooklyn, which is a bigger market, and come to Sacramento, even though Sacramento's winning, and come off the bench behind Kevin Huerter. Not going to work.
I don't see that happening either. And I mean, of all the needs, I just don't. I mean, the Kings have good shooting. I don't know where else that fits in on that. The Kings need a rebounder. They need something inside.
And like I said before, Scott, I think the upper echelons, I think the organization is starting to pick off what Mike wants, and that's defensive-minded players.
All right, we're coming back right now.
Welcome back into game night right here. Sactown Sports, 1140. One final segment for you. Kings Live pregame coming up at the bottom of the hour. Jason Ross will have it with the high flyer. Tip tonight, 5 o'clock, Kings and Rockets. The Kings looking for a season sweep of Houston. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, this has been a dominated series by Sacramento, of course, winning the first two at home. The Kings have shot over 53% from the field in the first 3 games. They're 60 of 129 from the arc, good enough for 46.5% from distance. The Kings have averaged 138 points against the Rockets and an incredible 64.7% effective field goal percentage. Just to compare that, Brooklyn leads the league in effective field goal percentage. That's 58.1. So the Kings have definitely cooked offensively against the Rockets, and the Rockets haven't shown much defensive resistance at all.
That's the big thing. It isn't like the Rockets are defensive juggernauts out there on the floor. And but when the Kings, man, I'm telling you, when they start shooting the basketball and they're shooting it at a high clip, they can beat anybody in this league. And I think now that, Scott, everybody in this league knows that. They know that if you let the Sacramento Kings get going, you're not going to win that basketball game because there are very little teams that have enough firepower who can combat that.
Yeah, that is for sure. All right, time for the Who's on the Floor report, brought to you by Gold River Floors. For the Kings, and again, we've mentioned it throughout the year, there is nobody listed on the injury report. That is fantastic. De'Aaron Fox back for his second consecutive game. By the way, we didn't say this on Monday because we didn't know officially with his personal reasons, but he had the birth of his child. Congratulations to D Fox for that special moment. And how great was the timing and the schedule? De'Aaron's from Houston, to have that all kind of work out in terms of the schedule and all of that. So that's fantastic.
I mean, maybe the stars was aligned, but I'll tell you what, and I'm happy for D Fox, but for the birth of his son, congrats on that. But at the end of the day, boy, the Kings needed him back.
Oh, that's for sure.
They needed him back.
They just needed him on the floor. I
mean, the timing was right place, all of that.
Yeah.
The cosmic, the stars, but at the end of the day, they needed 5 on the floor.
No doubt. And by the way, Zion Williamson, now it's been announced he's going to be out past the All-Star game. He's not playing in Salt Lake City. We already know Steph Curry's not playing in Salt Lake City. What are we waiting for with the commish just to name De'Aaron Fox on the team?
You know what, Scooter? How cool would this be for De'Aaron Fox? First, you get the big contract, which was last year.
Yeah.
Okay. The team, you get a new coach this year. The team is playing at its all-time best. You're playing at your all-time best. You just had your son.
Yep.
And now you get to get the nod for the all-star team. That's 5 things, Scott. He wears number 5.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, no, it all feels like it's destiny for De'Aaron Fox, and he's deserving of all of it. All right, the Who's on the Floor report brought to you by Gold River Floors. Let the pros at Gold River Floors assist you with all your flooring needs. 3 locations to serve you: Sacramento Flooring off Power Inn Road in Sacramento, Gold River Carpet One off Highway 50 in Rancho Cordova, and Gold River Flooring America off East Bidwell and Folsom. Gold River Floors, now employee owned. All right, as we kind of wrap this thing up, anything that the Kings need to adjust to with this game? I mean, you have to feel like the Rockets at least are going to come out with their best effort tonight. They were embarrassed on Monday night. Steven Silas called them out in the post-game press conference. You got to feel like there's at least going to be a start of some defensive intensity early in this game.
I would have to agree with you on that, but the Kings' mindset needs to be finish out the road trip. This is the last game. You know, it can't be one of those situations to where it's like, okay, fellas, let's just play this game. Let's get back to Sacramento. We've been on the road too long. No. Finish out the task at hand. This team is trying to do something special, Scott. So now it's all about the details. The detail is this is the last game of the road trip, and you guys need this one to make it right.
Yeah, no, they definitely need this one. The whole feeling of what the road trip was like will be based on what they do tonight.
Oh, for sure, because they got a chance to right the wrong. Now, if they would have came out and took care of business and all of a sudden they're like, 5-2, this game wouldn't mean that much. Okay, if we win it, cool. If we don't, all right. But they didn't take care of business, but it all can be still salvageable if you win this game and go home 4-3.
Yeah, and they should. And they really should. And for Houston, by the way, Garrison Matthews still listed as questionable. Kevin Porter's missed the last 13 games, and I doubt if we'll see him tonight for the Rockets as well. So just to kind of give you that on the Rockets side, there'll be more updates, of course, throughout Kings Live pregame and with the G-Man who is on site in Houston for that. All right. We're less than 24 hours from the trade deadline. I want you to get the high flyer crystal ball out that I ask for every season. Put your arms on it. If you have to rub it a little bit, shake it up, do whatever you do to give us your predictions. But first things first, we know that the Kings signed Kessler Edwards. That's kind of an appetizer. Is there going to be a full meal trade with the Kings? What's your gut feel on it? That this time tomorrow, are the Kings going to look substantially different in any way?
Substantially, no. I don't think that they're going to make a two-player trade. I don't think that. Now, will one guy be gone? Possibly. Will they have a new acquisition on this team besides Kessler? I think so. Who it's going to be, have no idea. I can't point the finger because the Kings have to be very careful with that, Scott. Because when you look at the camaraderie of this team, some things can be very delicate.
Yeah, it's been working.
Yeah, it's been working. So some things could be very, very delicate. So, you really have to be strategic and know what you're doing when you're trying to get replacements or even trying to make this team better.
No doubt. And just a little follow-up with Harrison Barnes. We were talking about him earlier. He does have the ability to become an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year if he chose to. And we'll see if that plays in the mindset of Monty McNair or not at all. But again, I think if all things were there, Harrison Barnes would be back if it was up to his choice in a Kings uniform next year. League-wide, do you think this is going to be a blockbuster trade deadline? I mean, the only major thing we're hearing so far is that three-way potential deal that would bring D'Angelo Russell to the Lakers. Mike Conley would head to Minnesota, a first-round pick to Utah, and apparently Westbrook would go there too, but they would buy out the contract.
Okay. When we look league-wide,
yep.
Okay, you only have two teams that really going to matter when you talk about trying to make teams better. All right, the good teams are the good teams in the West. I feel the same way about the East. But at the end all be all, the Lakers are trying to get better. Yep. They're trying to do whatever they can to get better. And I think Brooklyn is still on that same wavelength of what are they going to do to try to make themselves better.
How about Cam Thomas, by the way?
Man.
What he's done, 2 40-plus point games.
Man, he's making it interesting, isn't he?
He is making it interesting. There's no doubt.
So,
and of course, KD, what's his conversations like with the Nets?
Right. Is it going to be, okay, fire sale now? Or, because that can be the only trade that's going to be blockbuster if KD say, I'm ready to move.
Yeah. And the Warriors, are they going to try and get something with Curry out for a little bit here as well, trying to bolster up for another?
But that's just going to be something. He's not replacing Curry.
No.
A blockbuster would be Kevin Durant moving.
Oh, yeah, that would be a blockbuster. There's no doubt about that. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of activity, but, again, at this point, I guess in any prior year, it's never felt like there's been a ton of activity. You wake up tomorrow and then all of a sudden everything's broken loose.
Right. I mean, nobody plays their hand because we understand how stuff get broken up.
Yeah.
And, for the longest, the Dallas Mavericks Brooklyn trade was held up.
Yeah.
Because they said it was the third team that was trying to get in on the trade. But at the end of the day, we're going to wake up, we're going to see what's going on. But like I said, I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to be huge unless you say Kevin Durant's moving.
Agreed. All right, that's going to do it for game night. Henry's always great to work with you. Have a great call tonight.
Yes, sir.
Congrats again to the King, LeBron James, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That was a great night last night. We'll see if the Lakers make a move today. We'll see if the Kings make a move today. But first things first, they got to win in the road in Houston tonight. Coming up next, Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross here with the High Flyer. Tip 5 o'clock tonight. G-Man with the call. Keep it tuned here all evening long. Sacramento Kings basketball right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's been 5 years, but the Sacramento Kings finally have an all-star. Sactown Sports congratulates Domantas Sabonis on receiving the nod for the all-star game February 19th in Salt Lake City.
Here's Sabonis inside. He scores again and he's fouled. Sabonis rebound, rips it back down with the left-hand spike. Sabonis with a swat and a block on Turner.
Get all your coverage of the Kings at All-Star Weekend on Sactown Sports, your exclusive home for Kings basketball.
Jiffy Lube's Country in the Park, Northern California's biggest country music festival of the year, is back May 5th and 6th at Cal Expo, starring Lady A, Chris Young, Brett Eldridge, and so many more. Plus a boot-scootin' line dance saloon, interactive lounges, and Sacramento's best food trucks. Weekend passes start at just $85. Tickets are on sale now at SactownSports.com. Country in the Park, brought to you by Coors Light, the California Army National Guard, and the Arnold Law Firm.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices.